I call it shadow success. You get into success and then it starts switching from success into shadow success. And you feel like you're in success and you're doing all these great things. And everybody who looks at you is like, wow, you're amazing. Like, how do you do all that? You're making a lot of money. But slowly, you're just losing the happiness and the joy. Mara, welcome. I want to ask the big question. What was one of the hardest things about creating this?
There are so many hard things, but producing a product that comes from another country, there are a lot of logistics and things involved in that, and creating and crafting the product you want to start with. It's a huge learning curve. That's what startup life is like, especially when you have a product-based business that you have to learn everything from like how to produce it, to how to get it here, to freight, to shipping, everything, marketing. The good news is kind of everything is out there at your disposal and you can research anything and learn. It's highly regulated industry. I would do a disservice to any other entrepreneur who wants to enter into this to make it sound like there's like one hard thing.
It's funny because I mainly am in the service industry. A lot of people don't know I actually created a product back in the day. My daughter was a premature baby. She was born at 30 weeks and people thought she looked like a doll, which she did. And everybody would want to touch her. And so somebody had given me a little plaque thing that says, hey, don't touch. I said, well, I can take this concept and take it to the next level and make it better. And I made it a little toy. I had to get a certification. I had to make it safe for babies. I created this huge product. I had to find places in China to create it, all these things. I learned all that, but I missed the first step of actually having a market to sell it to. So I built it all. I had 3,000 of them. I thought it would be super easy to sell it. And I sold like maybe 100.
That's so funny. I for me, so what I did, I just put a big sign up right when you walk in my house. It's like, wash your hands
Yes.
on a mask. Don't go near
Don't
the
touch
line.
them because she was born in
Yes.
August and we were just rolling into the winter months.
Mine were
And
October.
yep,
Mhm.
yep. And so that was scary. And then it just makes me think about like the tequila. Like I'm looking at your beautiful bottles and it's like
Thank you.
picking the bottles. People don't understand when you have a
They're
product.
custom.
Okay, because I was gonna say
So
like,
that was a whole nother.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it's when you look at a product like that, and this could be any product, but just think of tequila or just liquor in general. You don't want to copy someone else's bottle because this is visual. So if you're going to a store and you're going to pick something, you want your people to quickly identify your product without thinking about it. And these bottles are gorgeous. Tell us about that.
Thank you. Yes, that was a labor of love as well. Again, a great learning experience. I had this fabulous idea. I want this tall, sleek bottle. I wanted it to be slender in the middle so it's easy to hold and pour. I felt like the big bottles are hard to manipulate, especially for a woman's hands. I wanted to have gradient paint so you could see it clear in the middle. They're painted, not realizing how hard it is to do a custom mold, to have a paint gradient and then clear in the middle without overspray. I
Okay.
wanted the logos metallic. So everything about it actually it's really complicated to get it right. I had this like vision of what I wanted. I wanted a bottle that I'd want to put on my own home bar. I wanted to be easy to hold and pour. I wanted to look elegant and pretty without looking like overly girly. So it's not like hot pink or anything. It's just sleek.
Yeah.
And it was actually my mom and I were going back and forth on a pad of paper, like trying to draw designs. I am not artistic at all. Luckily, she has more of those skills. And then working with a bottle designer, it took a while to get that done. But I thought you can go with a stock bottle out of the gate and it's less expensive. I just
Yes.
thought in the sea of tequilas in a really crowded category, we had to have a bottle that would stand out.
Yes. And I agree. People don't understand a product is the same like a service. Why are you different? Why should I drink yours versus someone else? What makes it different? And you have to be able to show that. And so you're right. I remember when I did my packaging, they originally had sent me just this regular box. And I was like, I don't want that. I should be able to see the product because if you have a box on the shelf and you can't see what it is, that's kind of hard. So then I wanted them to put this window in it. And then I wanted a window in the back, but then I find out if you put a window in the back, you can't put the description. Like it's all this trial and error. And so that's what you did when you're making these bottles. It was like you had a vision, but how can I have someone make it? Where do you get the bottles made?
Overseas and the product that's made in Mexico. So
Yep.
to be 100% agave tequila has to be made at appellation of origin. So our tequila comes out of the state of Jalisco in Mexico, which is where most tequila, I think 92% tequila comes from. So I had to find the bottle. I had to find a distiller that would let me bring my own master distiller in. So I wanted a female master distiller to bring my vision to life. So we're distilled, owned, and led by all women.
Cool.
So I found this like legendary female master distiller. I had to find a distillery. Letting someone bring your own chef into their kitchen is not the easiest thing.
No.
Listen, there could be a pretty bottle, but if the quality of the liquid inside the bottle doesn't match the bottle, no one's going to want to buy it again, right? After having the bottle on their bar, or the bottle's going to sit there as a display piece. So it was really important. I wanted to craft this really meticulously crafted, additive-free, clean tequila that was like really approachable and easy to drink, because that's the tequila I was looking for.
Did you have to fly down, and were you going back and forth?
Yeah, no. So it's kind of both. So when I founded this, it was February 2020. So it was COVID. So you couldn't get to Mexico.
Oh,
I
okay.
couldn't go to Mexico for our first tasting until May of 2021.
Oh,
So
wow.
everything was shut down. So our first initial run, they actually had to send me samples, production
Okay.
samples. But I ended up getting the taste in person, the first production, because what happened is they sent me samples. I tried them and I was really unhappy and I didn't like it. So it ends up the distillery didn't follow like one small
Oh,
specification she had in the recipe. I was really, really disappointed. So we actually scrapped that whole thing, started over, and I'm taking the extra 6 months. But then by the time she had like the samples ready, I was able to get to Mexico in May of 2021, because that's how long it took to get like the whole next production run ready. So then I went down and tried it, and we like refined it based on what I was looking for. Listen, tequila is done in a very like traditional way. It's not like vodka where you do a neutral grain spirit and it's like the same over and over. There's always going to be a little bit of like difference in every batch. So every single time you have to taste it and try it and see if anything has to be refined.
let me ask, because I mean, I'm sure my listeners are thinking this too. Like, how do you know what you want your tequila to taste? Like, where did this
I
come
know.
from?
The part of the due diligence process was trying a lot of
Okay.
tequila.
My husband would have fun with that. He loves tequila. And so he would be like,
The
oh,
fun part.
I'll try it. I'll try it.
Yes. You know what I realized? So how this all started in the first
Yeah.
place, right? I've been a tequila drinker for years.
Okay.
And that was my drink of choice. I thought it was better for you as far as an adult beverage option. Then discovered that everything I was drinking contained undisclosed additives. I did not know that all the big brands, all the celebrity ones, they used sweeteners, including aspartame,
Oh,
glycerin,
wow.
coloring. So when I found that out, I'm like, well, can I make something additive free? And I wanted it to be additive free, but still a really easy to drink tequila. So there are some additive frees, and maybe some of those tequilas are a little more alcohol forward, have a little more bite, or maybe have a little more smokiness or herbalness. I wanted to kind of get a little bit sweeter taste profile, but without actually using these sweeteners.
Okay.
So so we started with that as our base premise of what we wanted. And then the way we developed that was actually we took a Blanco and then put it in bourbon barrels for a short time, like rested a short time. Blancos very rarely go into wood. And that helped us develop some of that, a little bit of the vanilla caramel, a little bit sweeter, take some of the bite out without using additives. I went in knowing which types of taste profiles I like. And I thought that our female consumer also would like, because listen, if you have to mix your tequila in a sugary margarita to mask the taste, you lose the whole benefit of like why I wanted to drink tequila. I love dessert. I want to eat my sweets. I don't want to drink them. How can I make a tequila that is so easy to drink that all you need to do is add a little bit of soda water and it's like the perfect cocktail?
Okay. I was going to just ask you that. I was like, okay, what do you add? So just soda water and you put it in, and then I love that.
Ice and soda water. That is it.
Make it simple, and then let the drink itself be the flavor and to bring everything else. I like that a lot. When you were creating this and you had the first batch come out, you had a lot of disappointment in that. I want to go a little deeper on that feeling, because as entrepreneurs, especially when you're creating a product, you kind of get slapped. Not just like you get a little disappointment, it's kind of like a slap of disappointment. Like you just like, God, how could they get it so wrong? And I don't know if that's the kind of disappointment you had in the first time, but I would love to hear about it, and then what you decided in that moment that kept you going.
Yes, it was. And that was one of the first really big hurdles and the story that I remember. There have been so many more since, and some I'm going to
Mhm.
remember, some I'm not going to.
Yeah.
I think it helped me with two things. One, it reaffirmed for me that quality is everything to me. Like, I am not a natural salesperson. If I don't love it and believe in the quality, I'm not going to do a very good job selling it. So it had to be like everything has to meet my standards, from the website to the messaging to everything. Like it has to meet my quality standards. And then the second thing was you have to learn to roll with the punch. Like there are so many highs and so many lows. And I think trying to figure out how to navigate that and stay like a little bit neutral to those and not get like over elated or over deflated is really the key, because then it becomes all the time. I mean, we finally got the bottles, we got the products, and then we had bottle closures, and the entire run, they didn't fit properly. So you have to get into the mindset of like, I'm going to figure it out. Every day there's going to be something I need to navigate, and I'm going to just have to figure out how to navigate it without getting bent out of shape about it.
I feel like this is where the successful entrepreneurs are versus the ones who just never make it. And I talk to people all the time. They're like, how did you become so successful? And I'm like, because I don't stop. I push through. I've had so many difficulties at so many things. But at the end of the day, instead of saying, well, I failed at that, I say, what did I learn at that? Like, how did I learn? What can I apply? And I tell people all the time, I've been an entrepreneur for 20 plus years. I have failed at so many companies before I've even made it to be successful. So back in the day, I had a company called AuthLogic. It was a tech startup. So you know how you log into your bank now and they give you the text code that you have to put in?
Yeah.
We created that almost 17 years ago, but we ran out of money to finish the patent. And the VCs told us we were crazy and there was no way that anybody would want this. It was just way before its time and it failed. And then now I look and I'm like, it's everywhere. Like we had that idea, we had the concept, but we just didn't make it happen. I take it as I learned stuff from that. I learned that if I have an idea that's ahead of time, I need the money to fund it myself or it's not going to work. And there's all these things we have to just keep pushing through. So when you were creating this, did you self-fund it? Did you go for funding?
Yeah, I self-funded it.
Okay.
I self-funded for 4 years. And then we did end of 2024, like a kind of smaller friends, family angels. Then we're going back out to fundraise next year. But I want to prove a concept myself first. I wanted to have the product done. I also think it's a huge mindset issue for many women, including me, going out and raising money. We usually want to have wrapped up everything with a pretty little bow before we go out. I heard someone recently say men get funded on an idea and women get funded on proof. And as someone who went back in as a more seasoned entrepreneur, like I didn't go and do this out of my dorm room. I had the ability to fund it. It was very difficult to go out and ask people for money. I had to like reframe my mindset. Like I'm providing an opportunity. I'm not asking for money, providing an opportunity, but I need that like literally like tattooed on my forehead because I need that constant reminder.
I will tell you, if I go to a VC, I have no problem because I've done it before. But going into friends and family, I think would be really hard for me because I would get this fear of what if it doesn't work out? That's a thought that goes through my mind is they're giving me their money and what if I can't make it work? And then it's too much pressure on me. So kudos to you.
I mean, I feel a ton more responsibility, but it's early stage. So everybody knows that there's a risk in your investing early stage.
Tell us about the vision of what you're hoping this will be.
It's funny because it feels like I've been doing it for so long, like us dog years. It feels like a very long time in, even though it hasn't been. And then on the other hand, I feel like we're just getting started and we're in total startup mode. I want to build it really well in certain key markets. I want for women this to be their go-to brand. So if they drink tequila and they're getting together with friends, like I want to spirit those moments of connection, especially for women over 35. Women over 35 generally get written off by spirits brands. I want to feel like I created a community of those people or part of my community and that were their go-to to like spirit those moments of connection when you're getting together with people and that they've heard of it and love the brand. So it may not be everywhere they've heard of it, love it, but at least in like the places where we have a presence.
Okay, so you want it to be that lifestyle brand where it's like we're getting together and we're gathering. We're not just drinking a bottle of wine. We're pulling out the good stuff. We're getting the tequila out. That's a feeling. It's like we're gathering. We should drink this, not just something.
Right. This is my transition. I love wine. Wine does not love me. So at a certain age, sometimes people have a problem with it and the sugar and they don't wake up feeling well. So that was kind of like, okay, well, you still can enjoy yourself and have drinks with friends and you can have a really great, clean, quality cocktail and enjoy yourself. I think many women and the women that you talk to all the time, they live really busy lives and kind of also can carve out and deserve those like little moments of connection. So it doesn't have to be like a huge thing. It could be like you just had 5 girlfriends over or you were playing mahjong or poker.
It's just sitting and being. And it's like, I think that's what we're all after. That's what my women who follow me are after. It's I've made it. I want to go the next level. I want to make more money, but how can I enjoy the journey along the way? Because I tell people it's not about the goal. If the goal was just to create this, you've done it. That's it. But we always have a new goal and a next goal and a next goal. but we have to enjoy the journey along the way. And if we're not taking time to slow down and have a great glass of tequila and just talk with our friends on the couch and having that cool conversation about life, what's the point of all of this? It
Yeah.
doesn't make sense anymore. We're just driving to an end and that's it. Now, let's talk a little bit about community. You were talking a lot about community.
Yes. We've talked about this a little bit about how much work and how much effort goes into starting something, an entrepreneurial journey.
Mhm.
It's a very lonely journey.
Yeah.
So I found it essential to find, people that are there to support me. We talk about hanging out with girlfriends. My girlfriends do not want to listen about and hear everything about Inspiro Tequila all the time. Neither does my family, by the way.
No.
So having a community to go to, a supportive community. So I made that a really big priority, knowing that I re-entered the workforce. I was out raising kids for over
Okay.
16 years. I have 3 kids. I was out of the workforce for over 16 years. I had a great carpool network. I had no business network. So I had to be very deliberate to try and build like a community of like female founders, female leaders that I thought would help support me. So I looked at organizations. I joined different groups and organizations, and now I've refined those down to the ones that I think really are like the best suited and I get the most out of. But I joined like just tons of different networks, especially because it was COVID, so everyone could meet virtually. I reached out to people. I got lots of introductions, and every introduction would lead to another introduction. And I followed up on every single one of them. So by following up on each person, and because you never know, I still take every meeting. Everyone who DMs me, I give some time on my calendar because I think you get something there's some learning out of every single interaction. Then I found people that I wanted to connect to, and I did really thoughtful outreach, which I think is what's essential. I never send a message saying, can I pick your brain? I go in like very specific. I'll have heard someone on a podcast say, I love this message you shared here on the podcast. I'd love to talk to you more about this tool you said you used or this marketing group, and I go in with something very specific. Sometimes I sound even like on the stalkerish level. I'm like, I saw your kid just graduated from high school and you're doing, and he's going here and whatever. But I think if you go in with a really personal message, a very specific request, you'll usually get someone to answer and be willing to connect. Now, there are going to be people who aren't, and I don't take that personally. I'm like, okay, they're not interested. They got other stuff going on in their life. It's fine. But if you go in without any thoughtful message, it won't resonate at all. I think it's the same way. Like, listen, you have lots of people selling services. If you came to me and are like, I really want to present my digital marketing, whatever, and then we have the call and you start your call saying, so tell me, like, how would you get started about your business? I would be like, you are wasting 15 minutes of your half hour because all of that information is available on my website. If you're trying to sell me something, you have this much time and you just spend 15 minutes asking, you could have read all that. It's out on my LinkedIn. It's out on my website. It's everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So I think the more thoughtful you could be to build. And then I'm a very big believer in peer-to-peer mentoring.
Yeah.
So I have a group. I made my own little cohort within like women in spirits, because there are not that many of us, but ones that I think like we're really on the same page and think the same way, and just have like a cohort that meets like every other month on Zoom. And then I also have like a little bit of a bigger group that I can go to of like women in consumer products, and that we may do events together or whatever, or collaborate, but I'll reach out, be like, hey, I saw you have a new website. Who did your website? I love it. And if people ask me now, we have a new website, I share that. So that sharing of like resources and information, and also giving feedback. Maybe not everybody loves unsolicited feedback. I happen to. So I'll find a typo on something someone put out or their post or their website, and I will send them a message. I'll be like, here, I'm a founder. I would want to know. And most people are usually appreciative of it. So, but I would want to know.
Well, it's funny because I just redid my website. There's still a few things I have to tweak because I was like, oh, this wasn't done right, or they put the wording weird. But I wrote all the copy for the home page, the sales page, the waitlist pages, the email. It was a lot of copy, like a lot.
Yeah.
So I know there's errors probably in there because you're so tired, you're reading it. So if someone was like, oh, I noticed you just have this off, I would have been like, oh my God, thank you. Because we miss it after a while. So we're kind of glossed over to it.
Now I'm going to go read it to review it for you. So I'm an editor, like at heart. So I stopped doing something because I was literally rewriting like every social media caption. Just not a good use of my time because like I'm a lawyer by trade.
Oh, cool.
Writing's my thing. I was an editor of like my law review. So I am like a stickler for like grammar and everything. So
and
I
the
would
words
like,
you use, I'm sure it's like how the words are done because my attorneys are so funny. They're like, let's not use that word. Let's use this word. And so I've developed that too. I'm like, if we say it this way, it's perceived this way. Yeah.
yes. So I'm like much of a stickler, and probably much to the dismay of a lot of people who work with me because I revise every agreement and contract and rewrite things.
Okay,
But
that's
yes.
awesome. Love that. And so the community, how has it really changed where you were before creating this? How has the community helped you?
Wow, there are really so many ways. And that's a great question to like reflect on for me.
Yeah.
Because I'd say one, putting myself out there and building community, let's say even initially within the spirits
Hmm.
community, I think it's afforded me some credibility. So coming in as this random mother of three without any background in the spirits industry and saying I'm like building a tequila company, I feel like I definitely had to earn some credibility. So becoming like active in like those communities, just to get my like name out there as someone who can be perceived. I did a lot of homework and came prepared. I did not throw this out willy nilly. Hey, I'm starting a tequila company because my friends and I had a great trip to
Yeah.
Mexico. It was not like that at all. So I feel like that piece of it. I feel like also having go-to people and also being a go-to person.
Yeah.
We often think they're ahead of me in business and
Mhm.
what can I offer? And I don't look at it that way. I look at myself as hopefully being a connector. And if I think that this person, they could be like way more advanced than me and have a way bigger company. And this person, I think that'd be like a really good introduction. And I think more women have to think like that it's those little things. If you make an introduction, if you refer someone, oh, I happen to think this business is great. And it might not even be for me right now. Hey, who are you looking for as customers? So it's those little things. It's making the referral. It's making an introduction. It's answering a message. It's like giving feedback if someone asks me for feedback. All those little things I think can be like incredibly impactful of helping other women in business. And I'm fortunate that people did that for me too. When I think about the kind of events I go to, right? I don't go to these big
Yeah.
boozy festivals. I show up with like professional women's organizations and do tequila tastings and share the
So
story and
cool.
speak on panels,
Yeah.
right? That's my community. Those are the women who it's going to resonate with. And how this lady end up going from a tequila company and they're going to be like interested in the
Yeah.
story and trying the product. So I look at it that way as like, I can also be like really actively and engaged in the communities that I'm part of.
I love it because this is what I'm creating. And this is the whole point of it. It's so you found your peers that are in the tequila or in the spirits kind of area first. And then you branched out a little. I talked to another entrepreneur last month. I had her on my podcast and she goes, "Well, I wanted to create this clean product because I had cancer." And she goes, "But I felt really lonely. So I actually created this cohort of other people who had clean products. But now we do these pop ups together and I coordinate it. So we all do these pop ups at these different stores. So their products get displayed too. And people learn about their products and my products. And we're all kind of doing it together." And she goes, "It was one of the best things because we talk about everything, we're sharing it, but then we're helping each other grow." And I feel like that's what you're doing here, where it's
Yeah.
like you're meeting different people who can go out there and help you grow. But at the same time, if you say, "Well, crap, my lids on the bottles didn't fit and we had to go through like 4 iterations to try to get this lid to fit," they're going to completely understand. Where someone else
Yes.
might be like, "I don't understand what the big deal is." Where they're going to be like, "Oh my God, well, we had this problem or they were overfilling or whatever, the issue would be."
Yeah.
And it feels good when you have a person who just understands that. Because like you said, my husband, I try to talk to him about the stuff I do. And for him, he just doesn't quite get it. My kids don't get it. I have other friends I try to explain it to and what I do. And they're like, "I'm just struggling to do laundry," and it's a different conversation.
Yeah. And you don't want to bore people with it. Listen, my friends always ask me about like what's going on. All I do all day is think about work. And when I'm out, I'm like, let's just have some tequila and enjoy. So I can totally appreciate that. And I look at bigger communities too, where there's like a lot of resources. So there's like Slack channels that are specifically for consumer products. There are big women's groups where you can find service providers. Like the initial one I joined was like joined a bunch of different like larger national women's groups. And that's how I found like someone who initially did like our digital marketing and our PR. That's how I found resources that I didn't know even where to go.
Yeah. And it's great. Like I tell people, depending on the group and what you want, like you can go to the really big ones, you can find really small ones, right? I'm creating a small one where it's like your people are together. And that's just because of what it is that I'm doing inside is very unique and different. But then you can also be in a larger group. You can also be in a group about something else. Like it doesn't matter. How much time do you want to put into the groups? Because I tell people this all the time too. Because I get friends who will say, entrepreneur friends who are like, "Man, I've been in this group for 2 years. And if they don't put me on stage or promote me, I'm out of it." But is that the only reason why you're in the group? Like what are you not getting something out of it? Because I try really hard to get something out. I want to meet people. I'm learning from people, and it's hard sometimes in the virtual groups because you post and you don't get these connections. That's why I
Yeah,
love my podcast, because I actually get to sit down and have a real
totally.
conversation with other entrepreneurs who are doing really cool stuff. But like online, it's like even if you post or tell your story or someone responds back, you can still create meetups. You can still create little fun parties. Like for you, it's like
Totally.
taking your tequila and saying, hey, I'm going to pick 3 months. I'm going to travel the country. If I have my friends set up, little like cocktail hours with people, I'm going to come give my tequila. You guys can all try it, talk about my story as an entrepreneur, and let's all grow together. Like that would be really cool. That would get it out to a lot of people. And then you're building the connections and the collaborations and all the stuff that you want. And maybe someone's like, oh, that's not really for us after we're done. But I know 10 people who would love that. Or, hey, I know an
Yeah.
owner at a store who would totally sell this. Do you want an introduction? That's kind of what we want at the end of the day, right?
Totally. Totally. And I think you get a little more discerning as far as like what groups you start out and you're like, I'm just going to join everything I find. And then which ones do have personal connections. Some are great for resources or webinars or education. I'm certified woman owned. So WeBank, they offer
Yep.
tons of educational programming that I take advantage of. It's all free. Some are good for that. But then I got to the point where now I wanted more in-person
Mm-hmm.
opportunities. So who's holding in person? I didn't want all virtual. So I think you kind of refine that list down to see like what it is that you really want. Where's the community very engaged and people are like responsive? So if you're like, hey, do you want to have a meetup? That you
Mm-hmm.
find people who are responsive. So I think you kind of sometimes have to learn that along the way a little bit and like narrow down the different communities that you're in. It's kind of all part of the learning process and like what works for you and what's effective. And different communities can be like probably really good for like service
Yeah.
based businesses versus product based businesses.
And I like being in communities where there's both, right? So my community would be more just for service based because I had a product. So I have some experience. But if you came to me and you were like, Christina, can you be my advisor and help me grow? I wouldn't feel as comfortable because it's not something I've been doing for so long. Most of the business I've grown and done exceptionally well and have been service based. So I decided to just keep it service based. I like being in groups where I have both too, because I learned something from you guys. You guys have a product, and I'm going to tell people they don't understand creating a product, I think, is the hardest thing to do because in service, I can pivot instantly. Oh, I made a course and it's not selling as well. I'm going to tweak this or that and I keep moving. But if the product's not right and you have invested in bottles that just aren't working, but you spent a year in these bottles, it's not easy to just be like, throw the bottles away and we'll create new. It
Totally.
doesn't work like that.
I appreciate that. You can totally learn from other verticals. I try and learn. I went to Chicago Tech Week and sat in on different panels. I want to know what's going on and how people are using it. I try and learn as much as possible from a lot of different verticals because I don't know, people are doing things really well in other areas. And I think it's a good way to learn. I watch a million pitch competitions. Most of them are like besides when I watch Shark Tank, but most of the pitch competitions I watch, there are a lot of them are tech companies. And I'm just curious about like how they build and their valuations and how they get modeled. So I do believe in starting that. I also think it's great that you're going to define your group more narrowly. I tell people that all the time. They come to like pitch to me. If you say it's for everybody or everything, I'm like, what's your specialty? Because I don't think that anyone is like great at every channel. So if you tell me we do like email and social and paid and SEO and I like everything and PR.
Are you
What do
good
you do
at?
really well? And I think the more defined, especially when I talk to a lot of women who are like looking at becoming coaches or doing strategy, I'm like, if you define your offering like much more narrowly, like here are the types of things I'm really good at and can coach. If you say it's just broad
Everything.
for an entrepreneur, it's like just too overwhelming. I don't know what that means. You have to be like really specific.
Yeah. And I think that's what throws a lot of people off. Here's the funny thing. So I've been coaching for a long time, but 2 years ago, I actually came online and I have another business that's super successful, didn't really need to be online for it. And when I came online, I had a course, I had the coaching programs. It was starting to grow really, really well instead of just doing one-on-one coaching. But I wasn't enjoying it. It wasn't authentic to me. And when I started to pivot, I said, this is what I want to do. I know in my heart because I've helped so many of these women already. I just want to do it. You're being too narrow. You're excluding everybody, but then you're not going to have any money. I go, I teach and coach on this all the time. If you don't get narrow enough, I mean, there is a point where you can be too narrow, but it's
Right.
hard to really get there. But if I'm not narrow enough, then nobody hears me. If I'm more narrow, that's why it's like income jumping. So it's like you already have your business, you already have consistent sales. I could help you build a business. I've done it before. I could help you get consistent sales. I've done it before. But I'm at the point where I want to help you go from 100,000 to 500,000, from 500,000 to a million to beyond, because I know what it takes to do it, but I do it effortlessly. So instead of adding more activity, more work, let's take that away and let me show you how cool it can be to go to the next level and the next level without making it complicated. And then you get your life back and how to be happy, how to enjoy the moment. And I love you're talking about how your tequila is, let's sit on the couch. Let's have a conversation. Let's relax, because entrepreneurs, when we hit this point of consistent sale, we get in this rut and we want to do more. We want to go to the next level, and we add and add and add, and we forget how to actually enjoy life and how to go out there and be happy, to be in the moment. Like you said, when you go to your friends, your regular friends, you're like, I don't want to talk business. I've done it all day. But a lot of us, we're stuck in that. And that's all we think about all day long.
Right. I'm a terrible, terrible role model for balance. So I don't even preach that or pretend that I'm good at that. I don't have off hours. When I'm away, I'm working. I really don't know how to turn that off. I'm kind of myopically focused person. So when I'm focused on something, that is like
I'll tell you, it's
how
a hard
I
thing.
work.
I call it shadow success. You get into success and then it starts switching from success into shadow success. And you feel like you're in success and you're doing all these great things. And everybody who looks at you is like, wow, you're amazing. Like, how do you do all that? You're making a lot of money. But slowly, you're just losing the happiness and the joy. And it always feels like a new hurdle, a new hurdle. And that's the shadow side of it. And what happens is I got really deep into that. And then I woke up one day, well, I almost died. That was where I woke up. And when I almost died, I realized, what am I doing? I am running around like a crazy person. I'm barely seeing my kids. So I have 4 kids from 16 to 6. And I'm like, I'm not even like spending time with them. When I'm with them, I'm thinking about business. I'm not even thinking about them. And that was the moment where I was like, this is not the life that I want to live. And so I've been climbing out of that. And so it seems hard at first, but the moments when you actually just stop thinking about it, it feels amazing. It's like I sit and I read to my kids now, and I'm not thinking about business. I'm not thinking about, oh, I got to correct my sales page, or did this go through, or, oh, I have to send this email. None of it. I'm just reading the story. I'm laughing. I'm joking. I'm making moments and memories. And so this is what I want to teach women to do, because we're going to get to a point in our life where we're going to sit back and say, what happened? Like, where did it go? And I don't want women to be in that.
Yes, I definitely can appreciate and understand that.
Yeah. Let me ask this question. Are all your employees women?
I one of their full time and our master seller. So we're actually certified women owned. So being certified women owned is kind of the highest requirements. So you have to actually be owned and controlled by women. So for me, that was really important because one, I feel then there's a level of transparency. There are brands where there's like this one female founder in the front, and then everyone behind her are a bunch of like middle-aged white men who look at the industry. So I really wanted to be actually authentically have powered by an all women team, because in tequila, it's pretty rare, and in spirits in general, there are very few even certified women owned spirits brands. I think maybe like 12 across like every category.
Oh, wow.
So for me, that was important. It was important just because I felt like it was like, here's our credibility, here's our positioning, like you know exactly who's behind this. We do have some sales ambassadors on the ground for us that are men, fabulous, but they can only be men who like buy into this. If it's someone who does not buy into the relevance of a female consumer, I've done pitches, competitions, even where I get like men who respond like, isn't the women a niche market? So if you don't buy into the fact that like women are a very significant market to sell to, then you're not the right fit for us. If you are not comfortable going everywhere being like, this is distilled, owned, and led by women, this is like from a female founder, then you're also probably not right for us. So the people that come on have to believe in our values. And so it was important to me that we get the women-owned certification, that we have women behind the brand, because I thought the way to speak authentically to this consumer we're trying to address had to come, like, I only know I have a female perspective, but it had to come from a women team. Like brands who've tried to do this and it doesn't ring authentic. And they're like, oh, they've done it with a whiskey. This is a whiskey for women. Women get like super offended. They do not like it. They're like, it's not for me. And you're not like speaking to me authentically. Or they dumb it down for the consumer. They put in hot pink bottles or make it fruity flavored. Like we think she's a thoughtful, educated consumer who wants high quality products. It's a craft, ultra premium tequila. So that was important to me too, like how we speak to her. But the reason we focus on her, and I think the only way we could come at it from this lens in an industry that traditionally comes from a different perspective, like when you think of spirits, it's usually scantily clad women in dark club scenes is like the marketing. You
Yes.
don't see any of that. There are no women in bathing suits on boats in any of our market. You don't see it on our social media. You don't see it on
Yeah.
that because that is not something that resonates with me. And that's not how I want to portray the brand. So I do think those things to be like really deliberate like that, I had to come from people who would think about that because maybe a guy would not find is that possibly offensive. But for me, that doesn't resonate to me with me.
I joke with my husband when I see these because we used to have a boat before we moved here to Tennessee. We're going to get one probably next year. But I'm like, yeah, can you show me boats where there's these super hot women in bikinis dancing around drinking cocktails? Because that's not my reality. Sure, there are, but I feel like they're selling it to the men that, oh, even though they try to make it to the women, it's more of if you have this, you get these kind of women drinking it and doing it.
Totally.
I just think it's so bizarre that they try to do that. And you're right, a lot of the marketing for women, they kind of dumb it down. Like we're not smart, like we don't know anything. Oh, we just want a fruity, low carb drink. And it's like people, when I talk to people, so I can't have beer anymore. I guess I can have certain kind of beers, but I'm gluten-free now. I'm allergic to gluten. But I used to love Guinness.
I'm gluten.
Okay, but when I was
Tequila is gluten
younger,
free.
I know, I love it. And I used to drink Guinness. And people, when I would go out with guys back in the day before I got married, they'd be like, oh, do you want like a light beer? And I was like, no, I want a Guinness. And they're like, you're going to drink it. You don't drink it. And I'm like, I'll show you. I'll drink it. Like guys have this perspective of, oh, you're a lady, oh, these things, but it's not true. And if you don't have the right marketing and the right things put up in front for your team, your sales team, it ruins your brand. Because if they're saying the wrong things, and like you said, being authentic, and then someone goes and get this, you have this disconnect. They don't know why, and they're just not going to buy it.
And you want them to feel like we're like really connected. We talk about connection a lot. I want them to feel like we can, like, I understand your life. I know what's going on. And I feel like to have that feeling of connection, it has to come from someone who you feel like understands you. And listen, that's how investors invest. That's how they invest in people they relate with, which is why women don't get a lot of investment money because like it's mostly men at the
hard.
table.
I know. And that's why I was asking how you funded it, because especially being woman led and having that, hey, I want to really be for women, you're going up to men and you're kind of saying, hey, here's the idea. So I think that's fantastic. I love this whole idea and everything about it. Now, as we're wrapping up the podcast, do you have any events where people can come and try it? Are there stores that they could go to? What's the next step for somebody?
Yes. Check us out online, www.inspirotequila.com. If we're not in your market, you can order us online for delivery. But if we're in your market, like we're in your market, I know we're in stores around Nashville and the suburbs of Nashville. Okay. I'm in Chicago, so we're all over the Illinois market and then in other markets too. So we're in like 11 states right now. But if you don't find us nearby, then please, you can order and try it online and then see if you can get us locally. Connect with me on LinkedIn. LinkedIn is my jam. We're on social media, Inspiro Tequila on social media, or my personal social media, Be Inspired by Mara, where I share the behind the scenes of this crazy journey. But LinkedIn is where I share the most and connect people the most. So Mara Smith on LinkedIn is a great place to connect with me.
I love it. And then if they like it, is it pretty easy for someone to go to a store and say, hey, I really want you to start carrying this? Or is there a process to do that?
Only if we're in that market, if we're in that state. Okay. We have to have a distribution in that state because it's so highly regulated. You have to have a wholesaler in every state. So if it's a state we're already in, then it's easy. Let's say like a country club. We're already in Nashville. If you're a country club, members ask for it, easy. They can get it because we're in that state. But if we're not in that state, then right now it's you order us online.
Get it online for sure. And I bet they make great holiday gifts.
The bottles are gorgeous. People love it. It's a perfect gift. So if you miss the holidays, it's also perfect. Like Mother's Day,
Valentine's Day. Yes.
Totally.
You could drop the link quickly to your husband and say, hey, just wanted to share something with you. Like give the idea of, hey, I would like something like this. I think it's fantastic. And your story was amazing. It's hard to hear the struggle, but the struggle makes it real, and you didn't give up and you're pushing through every day. And I think that is just so amazing. And it just speaks to a lot of people who find that struggle or at a point where their business isn't exactly where they want it to be now, but you can push through and make it something amazing. So Mara, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me.